Welcome back to the Newbie Railroad. It's been a long time. I took the summer off from railroading, and I was playing with my model airplanes all summer, and also my yard, my plants and stuff outside, because it was such a nice, wet, dry summer we had. But now the rains have returned here to the Pacific Northwest, and so it's time to get back into model railroading. And so today we'll see a couple of things. I'll show you a new loco that I just unboxed and I'm running, and I'll show you the new controller that I'm using. And I thought I'd start here with this is a kit. This is an Osborn kit of a wooden grain elevator, and I'm putting it together. I'm not done yet. I've got the outbuilding I need to still build, and I need to finish the trim and stuff and putting some things together. So I'll be working on that, and then I'll probably next time I'll do a review or a talk about what I discovered there when I was trying to put that together. But other than that, there's not been a lot of changes on the railroad, because like I said, I took the summer off. So I've rearranged the room a little bit here, and I'm working on the grain elevator, and that's about it. So I picked up a new train. This is a Plymouth switcher, and it's a cute little thing. I got it from Factory Direct Hobbies. It's made by Broadway Limited. The trim on this is green. There's greenish and dark green and orange. Although on the camera I see that it's showing yellow, but it's not actually yellow. It's actually orange. A little six-wheeler. Plymouth was a company that made small, mostly this style of switching engine. They were used primarily in industrial settings. I'll probably use this one with my grain terminal. They have. I'll show you. We'll look at some of the features here in a minute. It's inexpensive. It was about I think like $89, which is inexpensive for a loco, especially one that is equipped with DCC. And this has DCC. However, it doesn't have any sound. So it's got, it'll run, the chip it's got, well, it'll run either on DC or DCC. And it's got one headlight and one tail light, and those come on in the direction of motion on either, again, DC or DCC. And but I didn't mind the fact that it doesn't have sound so much, because it's a small switcher. In real life, many of these had gasoline motors, so it's not like I'm missing a sound that I really wanted to hear anyway. We'll get it up on the track here in a little bit and run it back and forth a little. But just looking at I'll zoom in later and show some pictures of the trim. But just a couple of comments. The trim is very nice. The model is, even though it's a small little guy, it's pretty heavy, and that's because it's die cast. I think it's all die cast, so it should be a pretty good puller, even though it's small. It has a bell that you can actually move the bell, so you can actually swing the bell back and forth. Has a little bit of added on external, some handrails. They had about 14 different trim packages for this thing, and when I saw that they had one that was Great Northern, I had to jump on it, because I'm a sucker for Great Northern stuff. My railroad will probably be mostly Great Northern, and you can't always find Great Northern stuff. It does have a crew member in the cab. I don't think there's any cab detail other than that. It's hard to see in there. It's pretty dark, even though it has quite a few windows. And it's got, glass on the windows. It's got, it's got a couple of headlights that are non-working up here in the front. The one light is on the top of the cab that actually comes on. It's got some nice grill work there. There's some nice molded grill work along the side here. The little Great Northern symbol, the running number, the text along the side. Again, on the back, there's again a Great Northern symbol. There's some detail. There's not much detail underneath, but that doesn't bother me too much because I don't usually look under my locos when I'm running them. The one thing I'm concerned about is, well, and we'll see what happens. It's a small loco, and it's got 6 wheels, but the pickups, the wheelbase is fairly short. So when it goes over switches and stuff, hopefully it'll continue to run and it won't stall. But we'll check into that. So let's go get it up on the track and run it around a little bit. Okay, there she is on the track. Let's put it in forward. There's 20%. She's starting to move a little bit, a little jerky. It's about 40%. There's like 50%. Let's stop and bring her back. There seems to be geared down pretty low for speed. Doesn't move. That's like half speed right there. But that's okay for in fact, that's probably what I'd prefer for a switcher. So we'll go ahead and run her around the track a little bit, but you can see it's pretty silent operation, doesn't make much noise. Seems to be working just fine, and this is running on DCC. So I'll run it around the track a little bit, warm it up, and then I'll come back with put a couple of freight cars on it and see what happens. Okay, this is about 80% speed. At a slower speed, when she got to some of my points, she stalled. But she just went around made one complete circuit just now. The second time around, she made a complete circuit without stopping. So either it's not broken in, and it'll do better once it breaks in, or if you go too slow over the points, it just stalls because of the small size of the train. And when it did stall, like there's some points right there. And she went right past them just fine at 80%. So I'm going to let it run for a little bit while longer, and I'll come back with some freight. So there she is running backwards. That's about 75%. It appears to me that she's a little bit faster in reverse than she is in forward. I'm going to let her go around again, and then I'll play with the... Oh, I should have mentioned what came with it. There wasn't too much in the box. There was the exploded diagram of parts. There was a small card that mentions a limited 1-year warranty, and then there was a Plymouth switcher book. There wasn't any real history on the model. I just went and did a Google search on Plymouth switcher and found a train site and a Wikipedia site. But this book basically has some basic information. It's got basic information for DC and DCC operation, cleaning, lubrication, lighting. It's got the decoder details. It's got info on individual configuration values that you could set for all sorts of things that have to do with running the train. And it talks about whether you could do things like change the speeds and the variation and all kinds of stuff that I probably will never do. But I'm running it right now just straight out of the box as far as the configuration on the DCC. So let's stop her there and put it back and forward. And I'm going to try going over those points right there real slow. So let's try, it's about 40% forward right there. And let's see what happens when it gets to the points now that it's been run in a little bit. And she made it. Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to back it up over the points at about 40%. Had a little bit of a jerk there at the start. Let's stop it, start it up again. I can hear a noise. Maybe she's derailed. I don't think so. There's a bump in my track right there, apparently. That's a little over 40%. She went over the points okay. I'm going to stop her there. There must be a... Yeah, there is. There's a little bit of a bump on my track right there. So I'll have to fix that. So she found a bump for me. Well, actually, while I got turned on, let's put a couple of cars on her. One other thing I wanted to mention was I got a new DCC controller. Those who were with me on the Newbie Railroad last year knew that I had my controller. This one came with a set that I started with, my starter set. This is a Bachmann EZ controller. It works just fine. I had it. It was pretty reliable for me. It's a direct plug-in into the power strips on the Bachmann EZ track. The knob has a good feel to it as far as the throttle goes, but it is a very basic and older set, and it has some definite limitations. Among the limitations, there's no readout, so you can only program like 9 trains or 9 locomotives, and you can only you're limited to like 9 switches, and you're limited to like 9 functions on each locomotive, and you've got to pay attention to the lights, of course. So I thought I would just try to move up in the world a little bit. So I went to the next step up, which this is a Digitrax Zephyr Express, which is a DCC controller. It has a display screen, which you can see there. You can bring the menu. Well, maybe I can't. Exit menu. Yeah. You can bring the menu up. This is the throttle control knob here, which is real nice. You've got the backward, forward brake selections there. On the back of the unit, there's a connection ports for the regular track and also for a programming track, which I haven't gotten set up yet, but I'm hoping to do that eventually. Since it's a digital readout, it can handle 4-digit numbers. The unit that I was driving a minute ago, the little locomotive, I've got programmed in here as unit number 49. That's the running number on the side of the loco, so that makes it easy for me to remember which is which. So that's there. It also has a little more amperage than the Bachmann one, so I should be able to run a few more trains eventually without overtaxing the unit. It also comes on the back. It's got some ports for what they call LocoNet, which basically I interpret that as a newbie. I interpret that to mean that I'll be able to run multiple throttles. At some point, I could plug extra throttles in the back. So if I had more people here, somebody else was running trains with me here on my layout, they could have their own throttle in their hand, and I could have my own throttle, and we could each be running different trains with independent throttles at the same time, among other, and it's useful for other things too, apparently. The unit came with a testing cable, which I don't know what that does exactly, but it comes with a couple of books. One is the operating manual, and one is the decoder manual for if you're running Digitrax decoders. It's got all the details in that. I went online. I went to the Digitrax website, and I downloaded this manual in a PDF form, so I could read it as an ebook on my phone. I'm older, and even though this print isn't too small, it's not too bad, I have trouble reading books in anything other than perfect lighting. So it was nice for me to be able to download the manual and read it. It's got tons of information in here and all sorts of things. I also went ahead, and while I was at it, since I have some Bachmann trains, I went to the Bachmann site and I printed out their sound or DCC stuff for steam and their table for steam and diesel. And then I have at least one Broadway Limited that has a sound DCC in it. So I went to their manual and I took that and went to my printer and printed that out. So I've got those here on my site, so I can remember. You know, it's hard to remember sometimes which function number does the steam hiss or which one is the startup for the diesel motor or whatever. So it's nice having those available. Let's see. What else did I want to mention on this unit? I think there was something else I was going to mention, but I don't remember what it was. So I think that's it. Oh, well, I could show you. Where's that? Oh, it also comes with a quick start guide, which is a big glossy. That's an easy command. I don't remember what I did with it, but it comes with a quick start guide. It's a big glossy thing that gives you the basics of how to. Oh, here it is. How to set your unit up. And it's got big print and and pictures and stuff and how to get yourself connected. And this is the tester cable that it came with. It says it's it says LPT1. It says it's a decoder and LocoNet cable tester. So I kind of tried to read through the instructions. It kind of went over my head. So not sure when I'll be using that, but it came with that anyway. So I'm going to hang on to it, and maybe I'll use it someday. Who knows? So far I like this Digitrax Zephyr unit a lot, and I'm getting used to it, of course, and it'll take me a little while. But it's got a lot more powers than a lot more ability to do things than the Bachmann one that I started with. Even though that one was fine too. Like I said, there was nothing wrong with it. It worked just fine. But I found it kind of limiting. Okay, that's it. That might be it for the Newbie Railroad. And I'll end with a couple of train fan type running photos of the little Plymouth switcher. And I'll talk to you next time.